Hi everyone. Today we're going to do a meditation on developing joyous effort, and we're going to draw from the 37 practices of a bodhisattva, particularly verse 28. And so before we do that, we're going to make sure that the mind is settled and receptive as it possibly can be. So connect with your own physical space that you're in right now. And consciously see if you can let go of the distractions, sounds, people, sensory experiences, not blocking them out, but just shifting your attention away from them, into this room, into your own body, with your own mind. And then at the same time, see if you can also feel as connected as you can to each other. Even though we're separated by distance, even though we might not be doing this meditation at the same time, still there's a connection between us in trying to practice the similar things. And so try and connect with the fact that you are held in a community, you are connected to each other, and we're all in this together. And so start by relaxing and adjusting what needs to be adjusted physically. Straightening the posture while releasing tension. What you do physically becomes a prompt for what happens mentally. See if you can come to that balance of sitting upright with a degree of effort, but without tension. Relaxing without falling into sleepiness or dullness. And then revive your motivation. Take a minute and ask yourself, what is the most altruistic way I can approach this meditation? How can my inner work benefit the outer work that I'll do the rest of the day? What patterns do I want to nurture within my mind? And if it feels natural, if it has resonance for you, think specifically of bodhicitta. May I become enlightened in order to benefit all sentient beings. And shift your focus to the breath. your attention riding the breath the way a surfer rides a wave, enjoying, relaxing, while still alert and attentive, not sucked under by all the dramas underneath. Already bringing a little armor-like joyous effort to your concentration practice. Armored by your bodhicitta, staying steady with your focal object. This practice leads to strength, leads to peace, develops concentration and ability. Come back to the breath, again and again. Choose focus over distractions. Each moment of simple focus on the breath, bringing just a little bit more clarity, a little bit more connectedness and peace to this anxious world. More concentration and connection for yourself. And now shift to analysis. Starting with verse 28. Seeing even hearers and solitary realizers who accomplish only their own good, strive as if to put out a fire on their head. For the sake of all beings, make enthusiastic effort, the source of all good qualities. This is the practice of bodhisattvas. And so first, just identify what is joyous effort, delight in virtue, that which awakens and develops all the paramitas. Completely imbued with bodhicitta. It can be called transcendent diligence, joyous effort, heroic effort, energy, virya. This diligence is the joyous effort and active determination to carry out positive actions without any expectations or self-satisfaction. Diligence has three aspects. The first, called armor-like diligence, is to develop joyous courage and fortitude, which you wear like an armor against discouragement. The second is diligence in action, which is set about accumulating merit through the practice of the Six Paramitas without delay or procrastination. The third is diligence that cannot be stopped, an insatiable and unremitting energy to work for the sake of others. So just be with identification. What is it? Not identifying with, but identifying what. What is it when I have seen it enacted in others? Who do I look to as an example of someone who must have joyous effort? Just based on my own observations of them, the history I know of them. Who's someone I can point to as an example? Diligence should permeate the practice of the other paramitas and invigorate them all. The first kind, armor-like diligence, is to put on the armor of a strong and courageous determination that you will never fall prey to the obstacles created by the four demons, negative emotions, attachment to comfort, physical sickness, and death, but will persist, come what may, in your efforts to accomplish the extraordinary activities of a bodhisattva until you have established all beings in enlightenment. Armor-like joyous effort. Identify it. What is it like within yourself when you have steeled your resolve, strengthened your will, when you've prepared your mind with the power of your goals, with the intensity of your aspirations. And then even your own mind can't hurt you, while armor-like joyous effort is driving. And very personally and specifically, what is a thought that will carry me through any difficult activity and help me remain unafflicted, not swayed by the potential for negative states of mind or the power of the suffering within and without? What thought is strong enough to armor me? You can armor yourself with the thought, I must be motivated by bodhicitta or altruism, because if I don't, mistakes are more likely. Harm is more likely. Also inefficiency, distraction. People don't get the best of me when I forget to center myself and orient myself with bodhicitta. Remembering examples. Or I could armor myself with a memory of when I have had whatever degree of bodhicitta I can connect with, and the way in which I brought out the best in others, the best in myself, a joyful day, a relaxed day. Even hardship was no big deal. Remember examples. The second kind of joyous effort, diligence in action, is determined perseverance in the actual application of that wish. Feeling a great joy to be able to practice, to travel the 5 paths and attain the 10 levels, you enthusiastically undertake endless meritorious activities, particularly study, reflection, and meditation. Engaging in all of this, sustain an indomitable courage and never fall prey to discouragement, laziness, and procrastination. This is also called the joyous effort of acting constructively, cultivating necessities, engaging effort. Again, identify what is it like in those you've seen, in moments that you've been. When you moved from the stage of armoring yourself with your intention to the actual engagement of the activities, think about the type of momentum, the type of energy and efficiency that happens once you set out what you plan to do. The third kind of diligence, the diligence that cannot be stopped, is the insatiable energy to work constantly for the sake of others. Day and night, engage in every possible way, directly or indirectly, in your thoughts, words, and deeds to benefit beings. If you are not able to help them directly, you should keep nothing in your mind but the benefit of others, and dedicate everything you do toward their attainment of Buddhahood. This is also called the joyous effort of working for the welfare of all sentient beings, or the effort of not being complacent. Sometimes complacency feels like a great relief or a rest, but there's a heaviness and a sadness, even a cynicism that can creep in. Try to remember the joy of when you actually are motivated in the right way, in this insatiable way. Hungry for transformation. Curious about what will help others. Like a child investigating new things. We are never to feel satisfied because of a few good qualities you may have been able to achieve, and never be diverted from your aims by people's abuse or other adverse circumstances, Just remain determined to continue constantly until you reach your goal. And so this type of not being satisfied doesn't mean that you can't have contentment. It means that you don't slack off. It means that the whole thrust of your life is towards your enlightenment and the enlightenment of others. Without spiritual practice, without at least the engagement in beneficial states of mind and activities, all sentient beings suffer so much. Never to be satisfied doesn't mean you can't be content. It means that you're not being slack. And not being slack, not letting your guard down, not retreating back into things that don't help. You remember that you need enlightenment, sentient beings need enlightenment, or at the very least the practice of positive states of mind and positive beneficial actions, because without them, there is more suffering. Without them, we lose out on lasting happiness. Because of them, these positive states of mind and actions, life has meaning. And dedicate the merit of this practice to the development of the perfection of joyous effort, enriching and invigorating all the other perfections from now until enlightenment. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Page 184, Volume 2, The Divisions of Joyous Perseverance. Number 1, the actual divisions. This section on the actual divisions has 3 parts. The armor-like joyous perseverance of gathering virtue, joyous perseverance of acting for the welfare of living beings. Armor-like joyous perseverance. When bodhisattvas joyously persevere prior to actively engaging themselves, they put on the armor of a preliminary enthusiastic thought such as, for 1,000,000,000 sets of 3 immeasurably great eons, each composed of days as long as 1,000 great eons, I shall not relinquish my practice of joyous perseverance. For the sake of relieving the suffering of a single living being, I would rejoice at remaining only as a hell being until I attain Buddhahood. As I exert myself in this manner for the sake of complete enlightenment, what need is there to mention my perseverance over a shorter period or in the face of lesser suffering? Such is the joyous perseverance that is like armor. A bodhisattva who produces even an aspiration for or just faith in such joyous perseverance is steadfast. How much more so one who is endowed with this perseverance, given that he or she develops measureless causes for joyously persevering for the sake of unsurpassed enlightenment. The Bodhisattva level says that for such a person there is absolutely no action for the sake of others and for enlightenment that is discouraging or entails hardship. When you become conditioned to such a state of mind, it becomes the definite cause of awakening your potential for the Mahayana lineage, so train in it. Concerning armor-like joyous perseverance, the Compendium of Perfection says, in as many eons as there are drops of the water in the ocean, eons in which the years are composed of long drawn-out days and nights equal in duration, even to the limits of cyclic existence, you produce the spirit of supreme enlightenment once. Though you likewise have to accomplish every other collection, you do not become disheartened because of your compassion, and undiscouraged you achieve sublime enlightenment. To generate this immeasurable steadfast armor, while disregarding your suffering and cyclic existence, is declared the first proper undertaking for the disciplined hero possessed of compassion. Furthermore, even if it took you 100,000 years to produce the spirit of enlightenment once, and to see one Buddha, where each year is composed of 12 months, each month of 30 days, and each day as long as the time from beginningless cyclic existence to the present, and even if it took you this length of time multiplied by the number of grains of sand in the Ganges River, to know the mind and behavior of one living being, you similarly must come to know the minds and behaviors of all living beings. The teachings of the Akshayamati Sutra say that armor of being undaunted is the inexhaustible armor. It is armor like joyous perseverance of the highest caliber. In short, if you can generate a single attitude such as this, you easily complete limitless accumulations and purify measureless obscurations. This becomes the most excellent cause for never turning back. By just being joyful, no matter how long it takes, you quickly become a Buddha. Those who want to become a Buddha in a short time, but take no joy at all the limitless deeds and great length of time required, take a very long time to reach Buddhahood, because they thereby fail to produce the wonderful courage of the conqueror's children. After you put on such armor, you joyously persevere for two purposes, to gather virtue and act for the welfare of living beings. Joyous perseverance of gathering virtue. The joyous perseverance of gathering virtue is applying yourself to the practice of the six perfections in order to properly accomplish them. Joyous perseverance of acting for the welfare of living beings. The joyous perseverance of acting for the welfare of living beings is properly applying yourself to the practice of the 11 activities for others' welfare. The method for developing joyous perseverance. As explained above, since you produce, maintain, and increase all the virtues of the two collections, in dependence upon joyous perseverance, the practice that develops is very crucial. I shall discuss the system of the text of the great scholar and adept Shantideva, engaging in the Bodhisattva's deeds, noting that it is complete as well as easy to understand and to sustain in practice. The method of developing joyous perseverance has 4 parts. Eliminating unfavorable conditions that prevent joyous perseverance, gathering the forces of the favorable conditions, based on the elimination of unfavorable conditions and the accumulation of favorable conditions, being intent on joyously persevering, how to use joyous perseverance to make the mind and body serviceable. The paramita of enthusiasm works like a miracle ingredient that brings eagerness to all we do. What the Bodhisattva commits to isn't a trivial matter. Without enthusiasm, we might push too hard or give up altogether. As the Zen master Suzuki Roshi put it, what we're doing here is so important, we better not take it too seriously. The key to finding this balance between not too tight and not too loose, not too zealous or too laid back. In this spirit, Trungpa Rinpoche encouraged us to lead our lives as an experiment, a suggestion that has been very important to me. When we approach life as an experiment, we're willing to try it this way and that way because either way we have nothing to lose. This immense flexibility is something I learned from the example of Trungpa Rinpoche. His enthusiasm enabled him to accomplish an amazing amount in his life. When some things didn't work out, Rinpoche's attitude was no big deal. If it's time for something to flourish, it will. If it's not time, it won't. The trick is not getting caught up in hope and fear. We can put our whole heart into whatever we do, but if we freeze our attitude into for or against, we're setting ourselves up for stress. Instead, we could go forward with curiosity, wondering where this experiment will lead. This kind of open-ended inquisitiveness captures the spirit of enthusiasm or heroic perseverance.